I've created this slide to show you that it's not enough to look at one symbol, one clue in order to draw a conclusion. It's a combination of all the different clues that will help you to understand what's going on in a cartoon. So here I have a guy, there's Zeds, he's sleeping, he looks like he's passed out with his mouth open, and so there's drool. But here is exactly the same drawing. Instead, I have got a whole bunch of stars that are circling over his head, and I've thrown in a beer bottle, and so now it looks like he's passed out drunk. Next, we're going to be talking about movement lines. Movement lines are the lines that appear behind a character or an object that show the direction in which it's moving and the speed with which it is moving. So here are some examples. In the top left corner, you can see a guy. Look, to me, it looks like he's jogging. And the reason that I think that is because of his posture. He's holding himself upright. He's got a very relaxed expression on his face. And there are only a couple movement lines. Usually, the more movement lines, the more frenetic the energy. And we can see that in the bottom right-hand corner where we've got this football player. We can see he's leaning forward, he's exerting himself. There's a determined look on his face, gritting his teeth, and his eyes are sort of focused. We've got those little sweat droplets, and we have a number of movement lines, straight movement lines behind him, which is telling us that he is running very fast. Movement lines also give us a sense of direction. So if you look at the basketball player, we've got three different types of movement lines. We've got the lines showing us that the ball is bouncing. We've got the line showing us how the athlete is moving and where the ball, the trail the ball made. This is a little drawing of a girl throwing, and so the movement lines are behind the ball. But if we use the exact same drawing and we put the lines on the other side, then now it looks like the ball is speeding towards her and she's going to catch it. And if we take away the movement lines altogether, now it looks like the ball is just hovering in space, like she's using mind control to keep it there. When studying cartoons, it's very important that you understand that facial expressions are so important. You can't just refer to facial expressions broadly. You need to be specific, and you need to sort of look at the character and every single individual feature and describe what is going on. So here we have Hugh Jackman, very expressive face, and this is rage, this is anger. And when a cartoonist wants to show anger, it's about the eyebrows moving downwards and inwards. There's the frown. Eyes appear narrow and beady. The mouth is turned downwards. We can see that he's baring his teeth or he is gritting his teeth. There are deep lines. They're called furrows on either side of the mouth. And we can see frown lines between his eyes. Don't know why that says yes. So here, just to highlight those lines. And so that is the basic structure that an angry face is going to take. There it is. So before we go any further, it's very important that you understand that emotions can vary in intensity. So when we are testing your visual literacy skills, we want to see that you can distinguish between the different levels of emotion. You need to, remember it's English, you need to have the vocabulary in order to explain those different sort of shades of feeling. So if we ask you about this character and what they're feeling, it is not okay to describe each one of those as being upset, maybe for the first one, but certainly the second and the third. Upset doesn't quite do that emotion justice. So that would be marked incorrect. Furious would be better, and certainly at the bottom one, enraged. Here we have a happy face, and obviously our first clue is this wide open smile. And when you smile, when it's a real smile, a genuine smile, it always reaches your eyes. So broad smile makes your cheeks sort of bunch up. Those prominent bits are called the apples of your cheek, and they bunch up, and that makes your eyes look smaller. When someone is smiling and smiling genuinely, then you're going to see little wrinkles radiating from the outer corner of their eyes. In old days, they used to call them crow's feet, but now laugh lines, I think, sounds a little bit better. Now, boys, I know this slide looks a little bit random, but I want to equip you with the vocabulary in order to answer these questions. And so a good word for you to know is a furrow, right? And a furrow essentially is a long trench or a ditch that farmers are going to use. But when it comes to facial expressions, we refer to those deep lines, those folds on this gentleman's forehead. We refer to those. This is a furrowed brow. Those are furrows. So obviously, he spends a lot of time being anxious, right? Some people refer to them as worry lines. Here, we've got this poor little person who looks terrified. So this expression is about fear. And you're going to notice that the top half of the face, we've got the eyebrows going up. In the middle, there's a furrowed brow, but the eyes are really, really wide open. And that's because this expression prepares us for the fight or flight response. We widen our eyes, and by doing that, we open our field of vision, we let in more light, and that allows us to see what threats are around us. And the same can be said for our oxygen pathways. We open up our nostrils, our mouths, so we can intake some oxygen so that we can run if need be. So we've got the forehead that lifts, eyebrows raised in the middle, eyes wide open, mouth open or turned downwards. And that's it, stripped to its basic. That's the expression. Wide eyes, raised eyebrows, and open mouth. Now this poor little thing is looking very, very sad. If you look at her forehead, it looks the same as the fear. The eyebrows go up in the middle, there's a little furrowed brow, but the eyes are very different. With fear, eyes are wide open, and here they aren't. So she's got a furrowed brow, eyebrows turn up in the middle, and she's got those furrows on either side of her mouth. And look at her mouth, it turns downward, and also her bottom lip protrudes. So that's called a pout, right? Sometimes South Africans refer to someone who is sulking and they say, oh, so-and-so is lipping with me because your bottom lip protrudes when you're feeling sorry for yourself. I'm sure you've seen many photographs of people online when they're pouncing. They're doing that to look attractive, they're sticking out their bottom lip, but this is how it happens naturally, is when somebody is sad. And there we have the expressions that we're going to look for. So here we have Taylor Swift. And despite winning so many awards, she manages to look surprised every single time they call out her name. So when you're surprised, your entire face pulls up. Your eyebrows are raised, eyes wide open, and your mouth wide open. Now, this is interesting. People wouldn't think of this as one of the basic emotions, but there are 6 sort of universal emotions that it doesn't matter what country, what race you are, everybody can recognize these emotions. And one of them is disgust. And when you are disgusted, your face kind of twists. I'm sure you've heard people say, so-and-so turned his nose up at something. And that's about this facial expression. So you've got your nose wrinkles, your eyes narrow, and your top lip is going to lift up. Okay, so here we have a couple who look very awkward. And the reason for that is that the top half of their face and the bottom half of their face don't match. The bottom half of their face is smiling, and usually, genuine smile, your eyes are going to be small, but here their eyes are wide open. So when we are trying to mask our true emotions, one of the easiest ways to do that is to put on a smile, but people can tell. It always looks kind of fake and a little bit awkward. So here we have another example. Top half of her face is showing distress. Bottom half, we've got this kind of sheepish smile. So here's a sad character, and his forehead, his eyebrows are telling us. If we give him a little smile, now he's looking awkward. If we give him some blushing cheeks, now he looks shy or embarrassed or nervous or something.